I can't be trusted with silence. Unfortunately, I always break it, not with verbal forms of violence and the infinite army against me in a vivid warfare that I can't be surprised about. The onslaught of a wasteland that regenerates itself every morning in a perfect emblem craft from a system blown apart by my path. This is my instinct, and it is breathless. In my home, when the heart of my emotions is the overthrow of the tide of my past, I never had more than this life. This is the history of me and my remembrance. This isn't a rendition, this is simply me in this moment, hanging my heart on a rope, and I'm erasing it from the past and the stature of unearthed dark sadness, because we've forgotten that glass can blow your mind. It electrifies the future with words that bury the silence like a crime, chalk outlined in ropes and a noose that's so complicated that it's oversimplified on how to tie the fire that blazes the glass-blown mind in a time funnel collapse, where the frost met the fire, and therein you could see yourself over a waste. In grief so complicated in characteristics that were obscene, in a period of clinical trial tests that said, this is your diagnosis, live by these rules and you will find yourself extremely complete, and possibly you will mend someday, and it will be intense and like playing the piano and learning it everything and it ever was, up from the ground up. And it's not a problem once you accept it, that you are dying, that this is your detachment, that the numbness of your soul is no longer bitter about losing the inability to live too much longer, that the routine of your everyday isn't withdrawing. It's not a symptom, it's a synergy, because wherein you learn to play, there becomes beauty. And you find your life is not decreased, but it's a synonym of an antonym of complicated, and therein the colleagues of sheer will are an effective treatment against the rapid forms of silence that everyone is promised like a critic. In the mirror, you're looking at self and can't believe the diagnosis of the medicating essentials that you've been granted, and the holes in your skin. And this is why I break the silence, and I can't be trusted with it. Not with secrets. I hold all of them in like an antidepressant, keeping everyone from falling over the edge of a gap not too far. You could jump if you wanted to. The will of playing ivory keys like a piano up from the ground you're learning, and the bench is black, just like the flats of keys that are waiting for your fingers to create some beauty in a crescendo that stampedes the life far off. And this is the continuance of an ever less complicated 3-month period wherein you might be losing yourself over, but the feeling of guilt is not an epidemic. It is suddenly an affected format of beauty that leaves everything answered, because this is art therapy and this is the music. Why can music break the silence? It's trusted with everything in every moment, and I want to be like a melody, trusted with the silence that can never be kept too long. I've got to break it, but not let it out like a secret I've been tempted with. This is the spouse of my arrangement, and the melancholy of my old adage is an ode to the assimilation of my difficult and profound relationship experience in my mind with the savior of a survivor that is myself in the mirror. And this is the act of violence against silence. It is a hovering crescendo, and furthermore, this is the division of that gap where your fingers are finding themselves playing melodies Like Final Fantasies confirmed in unique structure, you're creating something beautiful at risk with the phenomenon that's gathering itself over your soul. Adolescents, some are their whole life long, but this is time for you to wake, so join me in this song. No longer diminish. Don't accept the failure of pain and the life of suffering. This is a life so long over, a caregiver waylaid by death and sorrow and the pathological lies that leave everyone severely depressed, and a major attempt to break the silence in a reaction that says we're not adapting, we are just speaking, in a redundancy of the formatted break, a separation from adaptation, the moment of self in the mirror. We've stopped realizing, and it's a critical period of attachment and separation at the height of information, and we are becoming examples of pure paper personality reaction manifested themselves in an act out, not internalized, suck everything in. We're like a clinging toy, angry and immature as our every behavior as we mourn in the same intense way that someone who lost a life. And this is not uncommon because we have combined every action in a relocation scheme to move emotion away from our heart, like a classmate we hated, one that had an illness that we were reassured, not contagious, but still left us physically feeling disgusted and emotionally vapid. We wanted them gone. So we pushed them into a corner and left them untreated. We bullied them into a psychosis that says you will never be accepted though you were born this way, and this is why I can't be trusted with silence, because I will break it, not like the experience of trust you gave me with that promise or with that secret. This is romance, and it's reoccurring in a grief over moral coded virtue hypnosis, and I'm living in it, and I won't be bereft, because everything makes more sense when you're content to live it, at adapting in a perfect moment to intervene on your own behalf, not in mourning but in hope. And this is the cultural diversity of the sun. You toss a pin drop a smile into the sea of humanity and watch everything cope as the world story changes like a butterfly effect. The sea begins to ripple, and this is the style of habit and attitude to encourage. And this is why my analysis of every moment is to break the silence, to smile for joy.